Hello, welcome back to Chief of Self Podcast. My name is Mads. Hello, my selfie. How are you? You can say it back. You can answer. Yeah, I'm feeling like a tender Mads. You'll get to know my different personalities. I feel as though I have this energetic, passionate side to me, but then I also have this very tender, soothing and needing a lot of gentle attention. And that's where I'm at now. I think it will still make for a great podcast. The energy just might be a little lower, which is totally fine and which is very acceptable. And this podcast is supposed to show the depths of me, supposed to show you all facets of me. I'm never going to lie to you because that would be rude. So I'm just coming to you with some honesty. The girl is not struggling, I would say. It's just I'm a little introspective and I'm a little tender. That's just how it is. All right, a little quick life update. It was Benjune's 30th birthday this past weekend. So happy for him to finally be in the best decade ever. I am 31. I'm a little older than Benjune. Yeah, I'm a cougar. And it was so special to have all of our friends in our backyard. We just redid the backyard, which I was telling you guys a little bit about before. And so it was so surreal to see everyone there. I was just going to say activating the space. Like the fact that I was thinking about that for a birthday party means I've been in the brand world for far too long. Okay. Yes, we activated the backyard. We hard launched, if you will. And it was just such a fun night. We had a taco truck. I got some rentals. So we had this whole tablescape. I tried to do hosting content tablescaping. It did not work at all. I admire people who can do hosting and tablescaping content like that. It is so difficult. But yeah, just a lovely weekend celebrating Benjune and his big 30s. Things worth sharing. I want to recommend a product to you guys. So I really only use one skincare product in line. This is going to be a whole other episode, but I have dealt with hormonal acne for about 3 years now, consistently, not a day without a pimple type of hormonal acne. I have gotten my blood work done. I've gotten my hormones checked. Nothing's wrong with me, which was really, it's Baruch Hashem, thank God there was nothing wrong with me, but also something has to be wrong because it's showing up on my face, So I before the wedding, I went through this intense acne boot camp with this acne specialist. I was on so many different products and it was so expensive. And honestly, it didn't really do much. Thankfully, right before my wedding, I wasn't having a massive breakout. I did have a couple pimples, but it wasn't so massive. Thank God. I think a lot of that had to do with how clean I was eating. But the acne was still full force. But I went on spironolactone, which after the wedding, I do think was probably the big contributing factor here to clearing up my acne. So now I really I have a couple pimples right now, but it is nowhere near what it was earlier this year. So I'm so grateful to my Spiro. If you're on Spiro, you know how magical it is. But I am going to recommend one skincare line that I just adore. And I went to another facialist and she recommended this product. And honestly, that with the combination of the spironolactone, woo, acne be gone. It is Sophie Pavitt. So I looked her up. She is apparently the acne guru in New York City. And she has this line on at Sephora. And I just got all the products. Literally, I got the cleanser. I got the mandelic acid. Apparently, everyone swears by the mandelic acid that she makes and the moisturizer. And honestly, I have just been doing that night, day. Works like a charm. I'm not joking. I am so happy to be on the other side of acne. If you are struggling with acne, my heart goes out to you. It is one of the most underrated struggles that we go through as women. And when you just cannot find the root of it and you go to so many specialists and no one can figure out what's wrong, I I am so here with you on that. If you are struggling with it, I would look into spironolactone. I would go to a dermatologist and see if that's for you. But I would also check out Sophie Pavitt, her acne safe products. And I have just been loving it. I've already reordered them 5 times. Like it's literally all I use. There you have it. Things worth sharing. Okay, let's get into the topic of today. So this week, something really, really exciting happened, and I thought I wanted to dedicate a whole episode to the evolution of Camber, which is my startup that I co-founded with my co-founder, Lauren. I've mentioned her many, many times on this podcast, but specifically, I want to talk about what it's actually like to build something from scratch, but then also how you can stay sane throughout that process. I don't know if I've completely stayed sane, but I have some tips and tricks because I've gotten this far. It's been around 5 years or maybe longer that we've started Camber. So I feel like I have some tips to share on how to somewhat stay sane through the process. But basically, this week was a really big week for Camber because we launched Camber Places, which is our new web app. It's essentially a consolidation of all of our Los Angeles recommendations, lists, place reviews, videos. You could see everything on a map view. Basically, a consolidation of everything we've ever posted about Los Angeles and the things to do, places to be in this city. It was a behemoth. Is that the right word? Like the amount of work it was to get every recommendation on our Instagram and TikTok and Substack onto this database was massive. It was a huge, huge project. It took essentially a year. And the reason we did this and we didn't use AI to scrape and bring in, and we had to put it in this way because this is our IP. This is our product, and I'll talk a little bit about the evolution, but the reason we decided to create a web app like this is because this is the database that we own. And before, it was living on Instagram, it was living on TikTok. And while, of course, those things are amazing channels for growth, that's not our product. And so we were kind of missing that product, if you will. And Camber Places, this web app, is essentially that connective tissue and the thing that was missing from the brand as a whole. But yeah, I want to talk about what it's like to build something from scratch, but not the glossy version, the real one. So the pivots, the identity crises, the wins that kind of come and go, and all that stuff that people really don't talk about when starting a company. But let's bring it back. I want to talk about the evolution of Camber. So I want to say it was definitely pre-pandemic. Lauren was, we were friends. She was my first boss out of college, and then we remained friends after that, that startup we worked at a long time ago. And she would always come to me for recommendations. She would see I went to Austin and asked me for my recs, and I would send her, a Google Doc or a screenshot of the Notes app. And it was just such a disjointed process to share my recommendations and have this exchange of trustworthy recommendations with friends. And so we actually created an app, which was essentially going to be a social version of Google Maps, where you could follow your friends, you could see all of their recommendations, see everything on a map view. And so we built that. And then the pandemic hit, and we were like, oh my God, we just built a travel app and we're in a pandemic. So we niched down into Los Angeles specific recommendations because we were still in LA. I mean, I've been here for 10 plus years. Lauren was born and raised here. And we were like, okay, we can recommend some LA spots. I think I have good taste. And that's when we started the Instagram and TikTok and really focused it on Los Angeles guide, restaurants, recommendations. And that is what took off, right? It was a way to promote the app, but then it suddenly took on a life of its own. We were seen as experts in the Los Angeles food space, and people were looking to us for recommendations. The app kind of became a little bit of an afterthought because the content and the community was really what was at the forefront. At that time, though, I want to talk a little bit about this identity crisis that I think I was going through. At the time, I was obsessed with being a tech founder. whatever the fuck that means, okay? I just thought that would give me credibility. I thought that's what success meant. I thought, oh, I, need to build this app and that's what will make people congratulate me or whatever. And so we held tightly onto the app idea. I mean, obviously it was like what our initial idea. We spent a lot of money on the development of it. Like, of course we wanted to see it through and make it as successful as possible. But I think what was underlying of that was this strange identity crisis of, oh, I want to be a tech founder. I want to raise VC. I want to be Forbes 30 under 30. There was that type of energy that was happening within me, some sort of thing I had to prove. I don't know to who, but somehow it was within me. And I talked about this last week about how we tried to raise money and we were rejected and we were not able to raise money. And although that was super painful, it was also really freeing. It was this moment that we pivoted and we looked at the landscape of our business and we said, okay, we do not have funding to pay for this app anymore. It's causing the most friction. There's the most resistance. People are not gravitating towards it. They're gravitating towards the content. They're gravitating towards the community. And honestly, that's where my strengths lie. When I finally shed that identity of tech founder and said, oh no, actually where I thrive is the content creation, is making people feel seen and heard and helping them discover their next favorite place. And it's being a community leader. It's showing up at these events and hosting them and gathering people and connecting them. Like, that is my superpower. And once we pivoted that way, everything fell into place. It was this moment of alignment that I don't think we had felt so much before. Don't raise VC. We end up fully pivoting to a media company. We abandoned the app, and now we are just inundated with brand deals and partnerships, and we're starting to do the IRL community events and working with brands like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Bumble and Lululemon and just every brand that is mind-boggling to think about we've worked with, like Spotify, Meta. It's like the list goes on, and I literally have to pinch myself every day to be like, holy shit, these are brands that wanted to work with us because of what we've built. I'll just say that this time, the past, I would say 2 years, has been really survival mode, keeping up with this momentum, keeping up with this success. But it's strange because I don't fully recognize it, because even though I just rattled off all those brands, and I'm obviously so fortunate and grateful to have been working with them, and I know so many people listening would be like, I would kill to have the opportunity to work with these brands, I'm still so inundated in the everyday of the business and the operations of the business and things that have to get done that are so unsexy, are so not talked about. Like, I'll give you an example. The other day, we switched our domain to Camber Places. It was camberapp.com to camberplaces.com. So we switched all of our emails, and suddenly all of our emails were going to spam. So it's like, just every day there are those types of little hiccups, and obviously some are much bigger, like, drop the ball on a certain brand deal, or we do something, whatever. There could be these huge, much bigger mistakes that we always just heads down, figure it out every time, and it's good. But I'm just letting you know that those little fires, those little hiccups, those happen every day. And so, yes, it's amazing when you zoom out and see everything we've done. But I'm just trying to be so real with you about what it's actually like to build a business. And there's just these little moments and hiccups and things that you're just dealing with every day, all day. All right. Even yesterday, we had to pay some sort of tax thing, but we couldn't sign into the thing. And then the other day, I've been onboarding a part-time person onto our payroll, but then we need to fill out this one form. It's just nonstop. Okay. So I'm not trying to say this to discourage you from starting anything or building a business. I just want to give you the reality. It's so beautiful and it's so hard at the same time. And it's hard to reconcile with that because you're sitting at both at the same time at all times. And that's why when I say it's hard for me to fully grasp the success of Camber and how big it's become and how all the growth we've achieved, and feel proud of myself, I just know how much goes into it that it's hard to celebrate the wins at the same time, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm just adding some realness. This was definitely like survival mode. I think a big concern of mine and something I've been thinking a lot about in 2025 is that me and Lauren as co-founders are so in the weeds. We're a small team. We kind of have to, and it's fine. I want to be involved in every part of the business and understand what's going on, but it also can slow down the business, and it doesn't help us be visionaries. Like, people ask me sometimes, like, what's the 5-year plan? What's the what are your next, like, what's next for Camber? And I'm just like, I need to get to next week. Like, I can't think about this. Like, when we created the web app, which I'll talk a little bit about, I was telling a chef of a restaurant that we love, and he was saying, what's next for Camber? And I said, oh, we're rolling out a web app, so it's going to have all of our lists, all of our recommendations in one place. And he said, oh, wow, what's the rollout plan? I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? I mean, I'm fortunate enough that we have, a community of 100,000 people that I'm going to post about it, and they are so engaged that, we're going to get signups, but like, what do you mean? What's the rollout plan? And so that gave me a little panic, and something that I definitely want to work on in 2026 is like, I, as the CEO, as the leader of the company, like, I need to be more macro. I need to be more big picture. I can't be so in the weeds, because then we can't think months, years ahead and plan for those types of things. And the launch went amazing. I don't think we needed like some fancy rollout plan. We prepped and we were ready, and that's what we were, that's what we did. We didn't have a marketing plan that was like months and months in advance that we like crafted and all this. We're a startup. And honestly, us being scrappy is one of our superpowers as well. And so I never want to like lose that type of resourcefulness and that type of energy. So anyways, okay, so basically the full circle moment, we noticed that we were an Instagram, we were a TikTok, we're a Substack, we're these community events, but like, what is Camber? Like, what are we? We don't have a product. We don't have a CTA that we guide people to. Yes, it could be follow us, which is fine, and that's a very, very healthy business, but I think we wanted something that was owned by us, something that was, our IP that we could own. And so this was really our love letter to our community. We were getting all these DMs and emails being like, I know you posted about best coffee shops to work from, but I'm not going to scroll through your Instagram and try to find it. And then the search capabilities are so bad on Instagram. Like, how do I just find your recommendations? I've been searching forever. So this was basically for everyone who ever DM'd us that. And we totally saw the need, and people were struggling to make sense of our content, and we want it to be delivered in just such an easy and digestible way. And that's what Camber Places is. Camber Places feels like a full ecosystem. That centralized hub, as I mentioned, and a place where you can just find everything, all things Camber. So let's talk about how I stay sane through this. If I'm being really honest, I think I disassociate a little bit, which has its ups and downs. You hear all the time on TikTok, be delusional, be delulu, right? And I kind of agree with what they're saying. I've trained myself to just do. I just do. I don't overthink. I launch when things are not perfect. I start things. I just kind of like forward momentum. I used to be a perfectionist that stopped all my productivity, that stopped me from starting anything, that stopped me from actually going out and doing things. So I went so far the other direction to a degree where I just do, I post, like, I don't really think or care. Not that I don't care, of course, but I think I could care a little more. I think that's the downside of it, is like, there could be some things I could think through a bit more or have a little more planning around. If I did that for everything, I would go insane. So that's what I'm trying to say about the staying sane is I kind of turn down the pressure dial on all projects, on all tasks. Like I don't see them as life or death because then I would make myself sick. So when things like this happen with the emails going to spam, for example, I was just like, oh, never a dull day. And okay, let's try to figure out a way that helped this. Okay, we found like a little Band-Aid solution and we move forward. Like if I obsessed over that, if I freaked out, if I was like, oh my God, we lost our emails, people are not getting our emails, what good does that have? That just causes more chaos. That causes more pressure and stress. It's already a stressful situation. So let's just layer it back, turn down the dial of the pressure and move on. As maybe Bouchard says, the bounce back rate, like my bounce back rate is just like seconds. I'm like, all right, next thing. Okay, we're calmly conquering this thing. Okay, next. And yes, I think that is a really powerful demeanor to have in business, and I'm glad I've developed that. But there has been an essence of numbness, I would say a little bit, where I don't feel things as fully, or when the winds come, they don't hit me as hard because I've kind of neutralized everything to a degree that even the winds don't feel as high and the lows don't feel as low. So it's just kind of this neutral plane. I don't know if that's good or bad. I just know that's how I've been able to stay sane through this process. All right, a little takeaway, a closing statement. Thank you for listening. I know this was a doozy. I'm feeling, again, very tender today, and thinking through all of these things brought up a lot of emotions. But I want to say in conclusion, you don't need to have it all figured out to build something that matters. I definitely did not have anything figured out. I still don't have anything figured out for Camber. It might seem that way from the outside, but on the inside, it still feels like we're all just making it up. And that's the real truth. And I hope that gives you a little solace and gives you motivation to know that you can do it too if I did. All right. I love you so much, and I will see you next week.